No, that's great then.
There we are.
Yeah, over here by South Africa, it's like cold now though. It's like yeah, it's 21 degrees now, but like earlier in the day it was like 5 degrees.
Oh wow, that is cold.
Hmm. It's this weird thing. South Africa is like so close to the Antarctic that we have like very hot summers, but we also have very cold winters.
Cold winters,
Like,
yeah. We've well, minus the very hot summers, we've got pretty much the same issue here. It's like very cold winters, and to us it's really hot summers, but obviously.
yeah, I remember when I heard there was a heat wave in the UK. I was like, oh, how hot is it? And it's like, oh yeah, it's 30 degrees. I'm like, 30 degrees? That's like nothing.
Yeah, it's pretty much nothing for you guys because it's just like that's just like your everyday. For us, it's just like, oh god, it's so hot. Why we're dying. I don't usually.
Yeah, especially because you
Sorry.
guys are humid. You have humid weather as well, which makes it worse.
Yeah, very humid. Like today, for example, it's raining. Even though it's still really warm out. But yeah.
Okay, cool then. Yeah, I'm also just looking at the live thing. Okay, looks good though.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. I managed to do magic, and for the first time ever, I've managed to get someone else on my stream. Woo!
Oh my gosh, it looks amazing.
It took me a little bit of a while to figure it out, but I managed to like just Google it and it was quite easy actually. But there we are.
Yeah, I have no idea. Okay, that's some witchcraft and wizardry thing, you know.
Well, I am a dragon queen after all.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm just as you can see, I mean, also like, okay, my profile picture is a dragon, okay, but like, that's a visage, right?
It's fine. You are an honorary member of the Dragon clan. It's fine.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I remember when I was younger, I think one of the reasons I like Dragon Age Origins was because literally it had dragon in it. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, pretty
Dragon,
much.
cool, dude. Like, why would you like the game? And then when I remember when I was playing Dragon Age 2, and then Flemeth was like, hey, one of the dialogue options was for Hog was like, hey, can I be a dragon? I'm like,
Oh yes.
I'm so tempted to do that.
I was like,
And
sorry, go on.
no, I was like so tempted, and then eventually I looked it up because I was like afraid I was gonna do something bad because Flemeth was gonna kill me for like asking that question, you know. And it's like, oh no, it doesn't happen. She is like bold of you to assume you could do that, you know.
Yeah. She's sort of like, if you're not a mage, she's like, oh, you could never be a dragon. But then if you are a mage, she's like, she's still like, no, you can't. But she's like, well, you know, she's not like against the idea. She's like, she finds it quite amusing.
Yeah, which I think is like an interesting thing about a character. You know, she's not like, if you ask her to do something right now, she's not gonna be like, oh, die, right? She's gonna be like, aren't you bold, you know?
Yeah. She's an interesting character. Like you just don't know what to expect with her. Hello, Tima. So it's just like the first game. It's hinted that she's evil, but then it turns out she's not really evil. I mean, she kind of is but not.
Not in the traditional sense.
Yeah,
know,
not
like,
in the traditional sense. That's all right, Tima.
Yeah,
Oh, sorry. Replying to chat.
oh, that's cool.
But yeah, she's not evil in the traditional sense, like, and that's why I love Dragon Age so much. Like, I went in for the dragons, as we all do, and came back
obviously.
just absolutely, completely obsessing over the game.
Yeah, I remember one of my favorite moments of Dragon Age that I always remember fondly is when I was doing the Dalish camp to recruit them. I was like, okay, cool, so they're being affected by werewolves. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. And as we progress, you know, we encounter the werewolves. I'm like, oh, cool, let me talk to them, you know. And they're
Yeah.
like, oh, they don't want to talk to you. And as you progress and eventually get to the Lady of the Forest, I'm like, oh, okay, like, can we actually start this? And the new information that is revealed that Zathrin has like like put a curse on these people, and that they just want the curse to be gone. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is. I thought this was gonna be like a, we're gonna maybe make peace with them. But like no, it's legitimately a very interesting, complex relationship between each other. It's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. To answer your question, Timar, yes, that is Knight. We decided last night that we were going to do a little just nerd out completely today, at least for an hour or so. Yeah, but the hype is real. The hype is real.
Yeah, but I guess then we should transition
No,
back to the You have some theories
Uh,
about
we can
there's
continue with
two
the
figures?
we can continue for Dragon Age Origins for a bit. There's no rush.
Oh no, it's cool.
But yeah, so
Yeah,
going
but like for Dragon Age Origins, what was like your favorite quest line?
my favorite quest line. This is probably going to be a hot take. My favorite quest line is actually the Deep Roads. I just love how
Same.
just how unapologetically like twisted that area is. It's just unapologetic, twisted. Obviously, the implications of potential forced sexual encounters with Darkspawn isn't everyone's cup of tea. But it's just unapologetically twisted and dark, and I just love it. I just love it.
Yeah, like I agree with you completely, especially with the more deeper you go into the deep roads, the twister, the more weirder and fucked up it gets.
Yeah.
Because like, eventually, I think when you get to Carradine's Cross, you start seeing like the Darkspawn like gore bags and whatnot, and then it's just like, oh my gosh, dude, like what is happening here? And the deeper you go, the more stranger and messed up it is until you get to like Bunamar and then see the Broodmother. It's like,
yeah, the
whoa,
moment you hear Hespeth's poem and you're just like, oh, that sends shivers down my spine, and it's just like, oh, it's amazing. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's also like, where's this going? Like
Yeah.
you're talking about them beating you up, them like feeding you meat and stuff. And it's like, what is happening? Are they torturing you? And then when you finally like get to the reveal, it's like, oh.
Yeah, you're just like, holy shit. And
this is why
sorry, go on.
No, go on.
And then obviously you see the Broodmother, and it's just like, holy fuck, that's a lot of tits. Like maybe that was just my first thought, but yeah, I was just like,
no, that was my. Yeah, my thought was also like, that is a lot of tits, but it's also like really gross,
Yeah, really, really gross. A lot of tits. I'm sure that's someone's kink out there somewhere. Let's be for real.
Someone's definitely looked at the Broodmothers for way too long,
Oh, definitely. But yeah, so definitely that area is my favorite area. My second favorite area is probably the Fade. I just love all things Fade and the connections there. And I have so many theories. So many.
Yeah, but like one thing I find so weird when I look at some mods for like Dragon Age Origins, one of the top ones that I always see is like skip Fade, skip Orzammar.
Yeah, I hate that.
And I never get that. Like, what are you talking about? These are like vital aspects of the game for like lore and story, and people are like, no, I don't want to do it. I want to skip it. And it's just like, it's.
Yeah, why skip like the main bulk of the game? It makes no sense.
Yeah.
To answer your question, Timar, sorry, Knight.
Oh no, it's cool.
Yeah, we're talking about the first game in the series at the moment. There we go. Carry on.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no. Dragon Age Origins does have a very sexy witch, Timar.
Yeah, very sexy witch. Like, who doesn't want to hit on Morrigan? Let's be for real here.
Yeah, like definitely no one. Okay, like you'll be crazy if you don't want to hit on Morrigan. One thing I actually want to ask you.
Yeah.
I guess about is with the fact, because do you know that Dragon Age Veilguard will have like romances? You'll be able to romance any character regardless of gender.
Yeah, I think I heard that. I'm not sure how I feel about that, because Dragon Age Inquisition, especially with Dorian, obviously we wouldn't want a complete repeat of like the same storylines we've already gotten, but I liked how intricate his sexuality was to him. So making the characters just, I guess, play as sexual. I know that's not what they're going for, but technically what it is. It kind of takes away that personal touch of the characters for me. You can have people be bisexual and whatnot, but I kind of feel it was a bit. It's sort of like a step back, storytelling wise. So I would have preferred it if they had had their own sort of like sexuality, who they will and will not romance. Like, for example, Solus, he will only date a female elf. And okay, it's a bit disappointing you can't romance him as like a male elf or a human. But that was part of his character and his story. And I just felt that was better storytelling than just say, oh, you can romance whoever you want, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, right. Also, someone in the chat, Arafan OP's here.
Oh, hello, Arfan.
And then Timo as well, like saying like Morgan has her special charm apart. I'm not talking about her chest, by the way. I mean, who isn't talking about her chest?
Yeah, come on, Timo. Come on. We're all adults here. Well, apart from Arfan, we're all adults here. We all know about the chest. Okay. I'm not really interested in real women's chests, but I will Google. No, not Google. I will Oogle. I will Oogle. I meant to say. I will Oogle Morrigan's chest all day long, because she has. They're just perfect. Okay, they're perfect.
Oh yeah, dude. And why I ask this is because I think it's. I'm on the same like wavelength as you. I think it does really reduce some of the story potential for like if all the companions are like, you know, bisexual, pansexual, because Dorian's story does not work if they're, you know, bisexual. Right?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
It'll work, right? It will still work in some capacity, but like it loses that punch if he's only interested in men. You know?
Yeah.
Same with like Solus, right? If Solus could romance like a female Canary or a male Canary. Right, like that would reduce the sort of like him wanting to be, or not an elf supremacist, but you know, him believing elves are like better and whatnot.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? That'll way that. And but like for some characters, I can see the argument for. Like, let's say for example Morgan, which is why I brought her up. Or do you think that Morgan should have been like bisexual?
I mean, she has the potential. But I think she was more focused on having the old god baby. Even if you don't play as a male, she still sort of like propositions like you to convince Alistair or Logan if you're not male. Sorry. So I don't know if it would work if she was female, because obviously then she wouldn't have her own agenda of wanting that baby. So I'm not sure if it would work, but she has the potential to be interested in women, but I don't think that is something she is focused on, at least during Origins, because her main goal is to have that baby so she can have the old god soul transfer into it. But no, that's an interesting question.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same with you on that sort of question as well, because I've also thought about like, why isn't Morgan like, you know, bisexual, right? And then I also thought like the same thing as you, like, well, Morgan's focused on having the old god child. Maybe she is bisexual, but like she wants to make sure that she says, hey, I'm interested in dudes only, right?
Yeah.
Whereas then she can basically say, hey, I want the, you know, I have a proposition for you. You can save your life, you know, which is a good thing, right? You staying alive is better than you being dead. So have Logain, Alistair, or yourself, you know, fuck me, and then I have a child, and then, you know, you'll live, because that soul of the old god will go into that child and not
Yeah,
you know, into
and not to you and like blow you up. Essentially, okay, you don't get blown up, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And I think that's like something. It's so difficult. Our fun OP says, what are they talking about? We're talking about like just Dragon Age in general.
yeah, when we had a trailer and gameplay release for the new Dragon Age that's coming out fall of this year. So we're just nerding out at the moment today. I'm not going to play games today. I'm just going to nerd out for like an hour or so with Knight. Because I have a campaign I need to sort out for when my nephew comes home, so no gaming today. But yeah, you're welcome to hang out and chill and learn of all things Dragon Age.
Yeah. And as TMR, yeah, like with Morgan being a bisexual is interesting. Yeah, I think Morgan like being a bisexual is interesting and probably possible. But like I don't know how you would tell the player that like she is bisexual, but she doesn't want to go indicate she's interested in women because she wants to make sure that she's like on her goal, you know, of getting that old.
She's very goal orientated. Obviously that sort of changes once she has her child. I'm probably going to butcher this name because I always butcher names. Kieran?
Yeah, it's Kieran.
Kieran,
right.
Yeah.
It's like your, you know.
So once she has him, she becomes more of a mother rather than... She's still goal orientated, but her main focus is now her child. And she's like, she doesn't care that he has the old gold soul. She just loves him for him. Obviously, that's only if you end up with that option, because obviously there's the option of him just being a normal child. There's also the option of him not being born at all, depending on what choices you make. So it's definitely interesting. Like, if you don't have that child with her, or if none of the other characters do, I guess she has the potential then to explore her sexuality if, you know, she was bi or whatever. But obviously, most playthroughs, she is focused 100% on having that child.
Yeah. Yeah. It just I think it is possible for that, but like yeah, I'm not sure if there's any much more to say about that. But I actually want to ask you this question. This might have set you at least my answer for it, because you said you wanted like romance Varric, right?
I would swoop him up in my arms. He's probably the same size as me because I'm a short queen. But I'd swoop him up in my arms and I would carry him off, and I would take his crossbow Bianca and I would point it right at the real Bianca and say, "Fucking bitch, I hate you. Leave Varric alone, or I will fucking shoot this arrow right in between your eyes." He deserves some love, damn it. He deserves some love. He doesn't deserve to be fucked around.
This is probably gonna maybe get me a bit of a hate from you, but one of the things I liked about Varric was he wasn't romanceable, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Which I think is cool to have characters or companions that you can't romance them because they're either not interested or they're just like doing their own thing, you know. I can think there's a lot to that dynamic, you know. Obviously Varric is like like for Varric, at least for Bianca, I think they didn't really do a good job making like us believe that Varric really likes Bianca. Like we're clearly missing some context there, you know. It's like when we met her in Dragon Age Inquisition, it was this, oh, so you're telling me this is who Varric is like in love with, you know?
Yeah.
Like what's special about her? It seems like she's just been like messing up a lot of things for us and Varric, you know.
It's just like, girl, had you not given the key to these Venatori, they wouldn't have had the red lyrium. God damn it! And that's like just one of the instances where you've gone fucked up.
Sorry, could you say that again? I think you cut out a bit.
Oh, sorry. But her giving the key to the Venatori is like one of the one instances where she just fucked up, and it's just like, girl, had you not given that key to the Venatori, no one would have had like red lyrium, and we wouldn't have to deal with that bullshit. Or at least maybe not as much as we did.
Yeah, literally the reason why the red lyrium infestation's there and why the red Templars are the red Templars. You know.
Yeah.
It's like great, we've been all screwed. You know.
Yeah.
But I do wonder, because they said all the companions will be romanceable. I wonder if there'll be also non-romanceable companions in Veilguard. Because in Inquisition there was Cullen wasn't a companion, but he was romanceable. Same with Josephine. I wonder though, like if that's gonna happen as well. You know.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. They've only confirmed the 7 companions are romanceable. But they haven't confirmed anything else, have they?
No, I don't think so. Not from what I've seen. Yeah, they've only talked about, like, I think Varric, but Varric was always going to be there, and the other companions, but they haven't talked about
Yeah, they
if
haven't.
we're going to have other characters other than like those 8.
Yeah, those 8.
I wonder if we are going to have like advisors in the next game.
Potentially. I think I'm hoping, because some people speculate Varric might die. I'm hoping he doesn't, and I hope he becomes like our advisor. And then whoever he's employed. Potentially the Inquisitor, because we know the Inquisitor's coming back. Because we get to customize the Inquisitor at, I think, the start of the game. I'm not entirely sure, but I know we get to customize our Inquisitor. So I'm actually happy about that. So potentially they'll be our advisor. And it'll be interesting, obviously, if you have a Solas-manced Inquisitor as well, how they go about helping. So I think that's what we might get, is maybe Varric and the Inquisitor. But I don't know. It's all speculation at the moment. I really hope they don't kill Varric off. I will cry. He deserves some goddamn happiness.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same as well. You know, it's like if you look at how Varric was at the start, you know, he was so. I mean, he's always charismatic, but he was a lot more like, I guess, happier. You can hear in his voice, you know.
Yeah.
And the end of Act 1, when he gets betrayed by his brother, you know, you can tell like throughout it, he still has this resentment against him. And then when you eventually get to the end of that quest line, and you can decide to either help his brother or like just kill his brother, right? You can still see there's like sadness in his heart. Same with Dragon Age Inquisition, right? Like Varric was clearly not signed up to be like a world savior, you know, and you can feel it so much in his dialogue. And I'm just like, man, it would suck if Varric just dies, you know, in Veilguard, because then like he never got a chance to just legitimately like go back to Kirkwall, like, sit down in the and with all of his friends and just like talk, you know.
Yeah.
He's always been in like positions of power, you know, and it's clear he's never wanted any of those positions of power.
Yeah, I think that's what makes him a good leader, though, because he didn't want the position and he's just like been thrown into it. But as you said, he's not had a chance to just be himself and be able to do something he wants to do. Because in Dragon Age 2, obviously, you get to go on the whole quest for the old Tig. He gets betrayed, and then the Canary happen. And then obviously after that, Cassandra pretty much all but kidnaps him, basically, as much as I love Cassandra, but she basically kidnaps him. A dwarf naps him.
Oh, you know.
And then of course all of Inquisition happens, so he doesn't get a chance to just relax and have a pint of ale or play some Wicked Grace, well, I suppose he does get to play some Wicked Grace and drink some ale, but besides the point,
like a low stakes Wicked Grace, you know?
Yeah,
like he's just, you know.
Yeah. So like I think he needs to retire, and even if it's not with a player character, he needs to find.
And that's something that I think that Dragon Age really does well. I remember when I was just playing Inquisition as well, and listening to the banter for everyone. I'm just like, yeah, you know, this is it's really nice. I'm enjoying it. And then at the end, when Solus like betrays you and leaves you, I was like flabbergasted. Like,
Yeah.
why did he leave us? Why is he gone? You know. And then when you go into Trespasser and he's just there. Oh no! At the end of Inquisition is like you see the cutscene where he's like some sort of related Evanura stuff, right? It's like, wait a minute, is Solus like related to that whole thing? Like, wait, what does that mean? And then in Trespasser, when it's revealed he's the Dread Wolf.
The Dread Wolf, yeah.
Oh my gosh, you're telling me, Solus, you fucking egghead.
Yeah,
Why
yeah. He's such a bastard. I love him, but he's a bastard.
Like, my guy, what did I do to you? And then the way your relationship with him determines how he talks to you. It's just like amazing, that guy. It's just like I feel so much like hatred for him, but like I can't not like him, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I know I never actually got to do this because I've never played a really horrible Inquisitor. But I know if you really, really don't like Solus with one of those characters, you can slap him at some point. I've never actually done that, but I have seen it. It's a little bit funny, I'm not gonna lie. And sometimes I feel that way.
That Solus like approves of it, you know? It's like,
yeah, yeah. It's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, bloody heck, and yeah. I guess a question I want to ask for Veilguard is, do you think Veilguard will be like not the last Dragon Age game, but the last Dragon Age game for like a while?
I have a sinking feeling.
And do you think it should be the last game for a while, if it is?
I know we were promised, what was it, 5 games? But that was when David... Yeah, I think that was when David Gader was in charge. Obviously, we've lost so many of the original like BioWare staff now. So I have a bad feeling that this might be the last Dragon Age period. Just because of how much they've like taken their time with this. I mean, it's been like 10 years. So I think this might be our last one, just because of how long it's taken. How much they're sort of like going with this tearing down the veil, and two supposedly either Evanaris or old gods or whatever they are coming back, Blight starting, although I don't know whether it's the Archdemon Blights or something, a different type of Blight. So it definitely feels like they're setting up for this to be the last game. I hope I'm wrong. I would like to see like at least 5 games in the series. But I just have a sinking feeling, given what we know, that this might be the last one. Although Baldur's Gate 3 did really well, so maybe BioWare and EA will say, oh, well, maybe RPGs aren't dead. Maybe we can sort of like make more. Who knows? Who knows? But I do have a very sinking feeling that this might be our last one.
Yeah. I mean, what makes you like feel it may be the last one?
It's just obviously, as I said, how long it's taken. It's taken them. Oops, pressing buttons. Taken like 10 years to make this one. Obviously, they've restarted it a couple of times. Just the fact that they're going all out with the bad guys, there being more than one like main antagonist, the whole tearing down the veil, losing all the writers, firing like really important writers like Varric's writer and like pretty much a lot of the main writers in the series, and it just feels like they're sort of wrapping up the game's storyline as a whole, sort of thing. But that's just the feeling I get. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But it definitely feels that way to me.
Yeah. I mean, I can definitely agree with you on that, because like it does feel like it could be the end, because with the assumption it was the Dreadwolf, right? And then the more information we got was, wait, who are these like 2 paintings that Solus made on the sides, right? Like, who are they? And it's like, oh, they could be like Evaniris. And it's like, wait, we were fighting against the Evaniris as well? This feels like a lot bigger, a lot grander than what initially it set out to be. and then the bigger it is, the more it seems like, wait, are we gonna like
Yeah.
be finished with this?
Yeah. Is this like the
Like,
end?
yeah, and then with the Darkspawn also showing up, because I didn't think the Darkspawn were really gonna show up, because it's like Solar's not really anything Darkspawn related. It's like, wait a minute, are we also gonna address the Blights as well?
Yeah.
Like, how big is this game gonna be? And if it's so big that it takes out these conflicts, it's like, it might be the last one. And I'm not sure how to think about that as well, because like I don't know. I like the idea that the last Dragon Age game is the story that like started it off, right? We would deal with the lost Blight ourselves.
Yeah.
And I like that, but like it may not be like that. And I'm not sure if I'm like okay with that.
Yeah. It definitely feels like this is a finale. But how many old gods have has been slain? I think there's been 5 slain.
It's been, 5. Yeah, 5 slain.
So there's only 2 old gods left. There's also 7 Evanaris, and we get to see 2 at the end of the gameplay trailer.
Yeah.
So I definitely I know Solus was kind of hesitant in agreeing that the Evanaris and the old gods are the same, but at the same time he didn't reject the idea either. Not really. He sort of skirted around it. But there's also the Forgotten Ones, which are also technically the Evanaris, which were said to be buried underground in the void. So the old gods could even be the Forgotten Ones. And I know we've killed 2 or 3 of those. So there's definitely a connection there somehow. I just don't know what exactly the connection is. But it definitely feels like there's some connection, and we're probably going to find out what that is in this game. Or at least I hope so.
Yeah, I think Veilguard has a lot of questions to like answer.
Yeah, definitely.
Like at the start of all of Dragon Age, like I assumed like the elven gods were like not real, because like the Maker was the big religion, and the elves were not like in a great spot in the origins, right? But the more we progress through the series, the more like, oh yeah, the elven gods are just are real gods,
Yeah.
And whether that makes them make real or not is up to be seen. But now it's like, now that we got the answer that hey, the elven gods were real, and then we also then get like the 7 old gods as well. It's like, wait a minute, is there not a connection between those 2? And
Yeah.
so it's like, are we gonna have this sort of package of we're gonna have Solus like facing down these Evaniris who are also the old gods,
Yeah.
So it's interesting. A question I want to ask though
Yeah.
is, what was it? Oh gosh darn it! I think I gaffed. Oh, I forgot. Never mind.
We're having scuff already, but of the brain instead of technology.
Yeah, hey, I mean, which is worse, Oh, but like, gosh darn it. What was it? I was gonna ask you about something. Evaniris, old gods. Yeah, I can't remember. I'll remember when I remember.
I was gonna say when you remember, you can ask me. So my theory, going off by everything we know about Solus, the Maker, Evanaris, the old gods, and this has been a thought for a while, but I kind of cemented on it last night talking to a friend of mine from America. If you read the description of how the Maker made the world and trapped away the old gods underground, it fits Solus's story like to a T. So who made the veil? The Maker. Who actually made the veil? Solus. Who trapped away the old gods? The Maker. Who trapped away the elven old gods? Solus. There's just too many sort of like connections and what's the word? Now I'm having a brain fart.
Yeah, but I think I get what you mean. Like, there's too many coincidences.
Coincidences. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
That was what I was trying to say. But my brain decided to die.
Happens every day,
Why we're getting spam? Carry on. I'll deal with it.
Oh no, it's cool. But like yeah. I think Yeah, I think there might be something true to that because like there's too many like coincidences for that to feel like that. I don't think that means like Solus is equals Maker confirmed.
Well,
I
it's not
do
confirmed,
think
obviously.
yeah, obviously because like but I do think that's like a very interesting like idea that a lot of the things were a lot of what Solus did was attributed to the Maker,
Yeah.
which really fits Dragon Age of like hey things aren't as they seems, you know.
Yeah, like, I'm not saying
Yeah.
Solus
Oh,
is the Maker, but I'm saying it's sort of like a case of the story has been twisted so much that everything Solus has done has been, you know, people thought it was the Maker doing it, but it was actually Solus.
yeah. I think I remember what I wanted to ask you about with Veilguard. So what questions do you think Veilguard like should answer, you know, in the game?
Okay, so the questions that I want answered, what happened to our warden? Because last we knew, you know, assuming the warden survived, they were looking for a cure to like being blighted. So I want that answered, even if it's just in notes or something, because I don't expect us to get the warden. We've been told, you know, so many times we're not going to get the warden. But I want to know what happens there. I want to know. I want more information on the Black City. Like, is it Arlathan? Like we've all speculated. Is it actually the seat of the Maker? I just want more information. I want to know more about the old gods and what their connection is, especially if there is a connection to Solus or like the Evanaris or the Forgotten Ones. I also want to know more about the Titans and how they're connected to everything, because we already know Mythol managed to slay at least one of them, and I want to know, going back on one of my theories that I did the video for like ages ago, is the Blight around because they slew the Titan and the Titan blood is just like, because it's dead, it's corrupted, and that's where Red Lyrium comes from? Or is it corrupted for another reason? So I also want to know about that. And I also want to know about Flemeth, like, because we all speculate that she managed to save a piece of her soul by putting it through the mirror before Solus like got to her at the end of Inquisition. So I definitely want to know if sort of like Flemeth will be around again, because I don't imagine Flemeth will just die and give up that easily. So that's what I'm hoping to see.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm also looking for those answers as well because I think those are very like crucial answers to ask, especially because of the part of the game, you know.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you have all these like old god connections, these Evanir's connections, Flemeth, and all of that, and like this is the game about it, you know. Especially with the Titan, as you mentioned as well, because like Mythol like killed the Titan, right? So like we need to know what was the aftermath. Was the Titan dying the reason Red Lyrium happens, or was it because of something else? Or
Yeah.
did Mythol kill the Titan? Why did Mythol kill the Titan? It's like answers to those questions would help like flesh out the story a lot more and like just bring a lot of closure to that part of the world.
Yeah. Especially if this is going to be the last game, like I theorize it might be. Obviously, if it's not the last game, they can hold off on some of the questions for the next game, for the final. But if this is going to be like the last game to you know end all the world's problems, we definitely need some answers. I don't expect all of them to be answered because sometimes it is nice to just still have something to theorize over. But at the same time, it would feel a little bit, oh, what's the word? Sort of like empty if some of these aren't answers. Like, you'd feel a little bit disappointed, I guess.
Oh, like hollow?
Yeah, hollow.
Like hollow, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can get you. Like, I think what's a big fear about it, and why I think some people want like Dragon Age to still have like a lot of mystery in it, is because the answers could be worse than the question itself.
Yeah.
You know, which I can understand. You know, I'm the kind of person who I want like answers to these big questions, because I feel like if we keep hemming and hawing on it, it feels like just so the mystery is like being sucked out. You know,
Yeah.
like yeah, sure, it's a big mystery, but like if there's no real answer to this mystery, it doesn't really feel, even if there's not like an actual answer, but like a lot of interesting theories, you know, I would be fine with that, you know, but
Yeah.
there has to be something, you know.
Even if they just gave us a little bit of a small hint of what the truth is, I think we could work off of that. And then the theorists could go wild again. And I definitely miss making theories on Dragon Age and seeing what other people come up with. It was always interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I never like I talked with my brother, and my brother also likes Dragon Age a lot, and I just talked with him like about what could it mean, and especially like stuff like with the Titans and whatnot, when we talked about it, you know, like, oh my gosh, since there's like a lot of questions on whether the dwarves are the way they are, you know.
Yeah.
And now our theories on like the stone has like changed, you know, which is really cool. Also, just want to ask before, do you need to go anytime soon, or?
No, I'm okay. We've got a couple of hours yet.
Okay, just want to make sure. Then I guess another question I wanted to ask is, personally, I don't think like Solus is gonna like die. A lot of people I see at least think that Solus is gonna die.
Yeah, no, I
Early on
don't
in
think
the-
he will.
Yeah, but I don't think he will either. But with the other like Evanurus supposedly there, I wonder what will happen if there's gonna be like a three-way war between them, or like, you know, those two Evanurus siding with each other to go against Solus, right? Like, do you think that might happen?
Yes, only because well, from what we know of Solus, obviously he tricked the gods into being where they were so he could trap them away. So I'm fairly sure they're pretty pissed about that. So I definitely think that they're going to go after him. I don't think they're going to kill him straight away, because, again, that would be very anticlimactic. And I would like to hope that BioWare, even though it's a former shell of what it was, I would like to hope that the new guys taking over at least understand that, at the very least. You know, that killing off such a character that has been set up to be this like trickster god, this guy who always gets away, and just dying like within the first like opening, I guess. So I don't think they will kill him off, at least not straight away. Maybe at the end of the game they might. I'd be upset, don't get me wrong, but I could understand it if they waited till the end of the game to kill him off, if they did. I'd rather they didn't, though. But they definitely won't kill him off
like,
at the front start.
I think it should be up to the player if we should
Yeah.
kill Solus or not. I don't know, because like I feel like there's a lot of baggage with Solus. Well, there is a lot of baggage, you know, and I feel like just having him die in a sort of preordained death kind of makes what the Inquisitor said in the end of Trespasser feel a bit odd. You know, like, oh, what if the Inquisitor wanted to kill Solus, or what if the Inquisitor wanted to like save Solus? You know. Should we not be allowed to be able to do that? You know?
Yeah. I think that will probably play a part. At least I'd hope so. That is my hope.
Yeah, I think for me, one of the reasons why I like the idea of these two Evanurus coming as well is also because, and this I thought a while, like, how are we going to defeat Solus, right? Because Solus, we are shown in Trespasser, right, can just like turn people into stone.
Yeah.
Like right there, ready. You know, so how are our characters gonna be able to stop Solus, right? Like either kill him or stop his ritual and whatnot. It's like, okay, well, they kind of answered that, and that is with the other Evanurus. Now Solus's focus isn't just on, you know, the Inquisition and us. It's also focused on the other Evanurus. You know, it's like, oh, okay. I think that allows the story to do a lot more than I think it could have. You know.
Absolutely, yeah. So I think Solus is gonna realise he done fucked up, technically, I think Rook fucked up, didn't he? Because he interrupted the ritual. It's
Yeah,
hard.
Rook,
It's
Rook,
hard to say because obviously Solus didn't want to bring the Evanaris back. Not really. So I don't think he
or maybe-
deliberately did.
Sorry.
Uh,
Yeah, not deliberately, because I think Solus like knew he was gonna have to deal with him.
Yeah.
But he had like a plan in motion, you know. But
Yeah.
now that like, oh, the ritual was interrupted, it's like, okay, this puts his plans into awry, you know.
Yeah, I think Rook interrupting the ritual slightly edited. So, I'm gonna say edited the ritual just enough that the Evanaris were able to locate Solus, I guess I want to say, and realize that holy shit, we can escape. Whereas before he probably had safeguards in place to stop that. At least that's my theory. Obviously, we'll have to find out when we actually play the game, but that's my theory.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't know. There's so much like theorizing, like there's no real concrete answer. There's a lot of interesting answers.
Yeah.
You know? And it's really getting me excited to see like what Veilguard will actually say.
Yeah, I just my friends worry that I'll get so hyped up and then I'll be disappointed, and I'm just like, as long as the lore, the starators, the characters even, and like the story lore characters, as long as that's okay, I can forgive the Zelda / Elden Ring fighting mechanics. I don't like it, but I can put that aside and focus on the things I do like. So as long as they've got that lot sorted, I think I'll be okay. And from what we have seen, I think we will be okay. I don't know whether it'll be perfect, and I don't know if it'll live up to like my expectations, but I think we'll be okay, at least story-wise.
Yeah, I think we'll be okay story-wise, because like I don't mind the new gameplay. I obviously do like my favorite gameplay style from all the Dragon Age games is Dragon Age 2.
Yeah.
Like I love that like so much, you know. But like I can accept that like Dragon Age has moved on from, you know, it's more like tactical stuff and whatnot, into more of an action focus, you know. But as long as like the core aspect of it, which is this character's lore and story, like remain the same, I think I'll be fine with it.
Yeah.
You know? Like I think consistency is a very important part of like any franchise, because it helps you like understand that, hey, this is a part of the franchise, and the franchise can like build upon itself, right?
Yeah.
The gameplay can be better, the world can be better, the gameplay and the aesthetics can be better, right? And it's such a surface level thing, but like the surface level really does matter, because hey, if you can identify what this franchise looks like and feels like, it's a lot easier to sort of accept a newer entry, even if it is like different story-wise, you know?
Yeah.
I honestly think if Dragon Age 2 had the same like aesthetics and gameplay as Origins, a lot more people would be accepting of it, because they would at least go like,
Yeah.
I mean, at least it looked like a Dragon Age game, you know?
Yeah, they wouldn't have hated it as much, I think. Dragon Age 2's problem was that it was rushed and it was released in like was it a year? I think it was like a year, wasn't it?
It was 18, if I remember correctly.
18 months, yeah. So just over a year then. And obviously they had to reuse assets and locations because they did not have the time to create a whole new, like, everything. I think if they had been given the chance to have that extra time, I think we would have gotten a lot better, like, game. But unfortunately, it is what it is. You know, I still love Dragon Age 2 for what it does. And I was glad that they gave Inquisition more time. It still had its faults, but they improved on what Dragon Age 2's weaknesses were, at least for me. And the combat was a lot smoother, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, I mean, I definitely think like Inquisition's combat is a lot better. You know, I obviously still prefer Dragon Age 2's combat because I like the energy it has.
Yeah.
But like Dragon Age Inquisition, I think did its best to marry both like Inquisition's like tactical side and like
Yeah.
a bit of a more active focused, you know.
Yeah. Because obviously you could pause combat and scroll out, as it were, to like choose what you were about to do. I didn't make much use of that because I don't know how to actually do that on the PlayStation version. But I know you can do it on the PC version. And obviously with Dragon Age Origins, you could do that as well. So as you said, it was a nice mix of the both. I was actually glad though that they moved away from the combat in Origins. Not because I didn't love the combat, but it is really clunky. Obviously, if you're a warrior, you're pretty much hacking and slashing, and you're not really doing a whole lot. With the rogue, again, you just click a skill or ability, or just fire an arrow, and you're not really doing anything. You're maybe pressing a button every now and then. The mage tends to have more variety, but it kind of suffers as well. Like with the rogue, if you're like using a bow and arrow, but obviously with a mage and a staff, you're just pointing and clicking and then maybe pressing a button for a different skill. The only difference is you do have to think a lot more with Origins, and I think that's what makes it a bit harder. But the gameplay itself is kind of clunky. So I am kind of glad that they made it a bit more streamlined, I guess. But I don't like the new combat for the Veilguard. It just seems too Elden Ringy and hacky and slashy. But again, we've seen it from the point of view of a rogue, who was mainly acting like a warrior with his sword. So maybe for a mage it'll be different. I don't know.
Yeah, I think for mage it will be different. The one thing I do hope that I liked this from Dragon Age 2, which was if a enemy comes up close to a mage, I hope they can actually use their staff to whack them.
Yeah.
You know, because that made so much sense. Like, oh yeah, you use your staff to whack the guy. It's obviously not that good damage, you know, but like it gives you an option.
It gives you an option,
you know?
yeah.
It's also very like flavorful.
Yeah.
You know? But like yeah, I mean I'll enjoy the combat well enough, but I will always like think about it when I'm doing like, yeah, I mean this is cool and whatnot, and I think this is a really cool gameplay, but it does feel like it's Elden Ring combat, but also I feel like it's a melee Mass Effect, you know.
Yeah.
You have the 3 power options. You have the ability to choose where your companions attack. It's like, okay, it feels like a melee Mass Effect.
Yeah. I can see what you're going for. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I mean, it does suck, but I don't know. Gameplay has never really been such an important thing for me, but like the consistency has always been an important thing for me. But yeah, but I guess I just an open question to the chat if they want to answer this. Which like combat system did you prefer? You know, if you do have any preference. But yeah, I guess I gotta ask for you, because this is maybe an issue for me. I'm not sure about you. Did you like sort of Dragon Age Inquisition's like animations for their attacks? You know.
For the most part, yeah, I wasn't too disappointed with it. I quite like playing a mage in most of the games. So I think my favourite one was probably the ice spellcast, just because you had that ability where you could like zoom around, and if you like pass through someone, you could like freeze them or whatever you decided that ability could do. I abused that skill so much, just because it made me go places faster. Even outside of combat, you're just like zoom, and I was like, yes, speed, thank you. I feel like Sonic the Hedgehog. So I wasn't upset with the combat animations for Inquisition. It felt sort of natural for the characters. There was definitely could be improvements in places, but combat-wise, I would say Inquisition is probably my favourite. As you said, you prefer 2, but I prefer Inquisition just because it's less clunky and it does sort of like mix the two quite well. And so it wasn't clunky like Origins, but it wasn't as Dragon Age E2 as...
Like frenetic?
Yeah.
Yeah, because Dragon Age 2, like, I remember when I first played it, like, I was seeing Fenris attacking someone. I was like, why is this twink with this like giant ass sword like just wielding this huge greatsword and just like it's nothing. It weighs nothing to him, you know. And I find that very funny. But like in Dragon Age Inquisition, it looks a lot more reasonable, you know.
Yeah.
Like this looks like something someone could hold, you know.
It's a little bit more realistic. And I know people go, oh, it's fantasy. It doesn't matter. Just because it's fantasy, and this is the biggest gripe I have with people who say, oh, it's just fantasy, it doesn't matter. Just because something is fantasy does not mean it can't be logical. Even if you have that logic set up to your world state, like magic, for example, it still has to make sense for that world. You can't just have a big-ass, massive sword and just say, oh, yeah, this small, thin twink of an elf can like wield it happily with no problems. It doesn't make sense. Obviously Fenris was trained for it, and he's not so much of a twink. He has a bit of muscle. I should know. So it kind of makes sense for him to be able to do that because he has the background to fit. But if you just had any old elf doing it, like a city elf that had never had any training or whatever, then I'd probably be like, no, not really. But Dragon Age has never really had that much of a problem with that sort of thing. They've had fantasy elements, but they've made it realistic to their world.
Oh no, yeah, like that's how Dragon Age has established in its setting that hey, you can't be like a small dude in weird like a cloud stripe sword.
Yeah,
you can't do that. It's established that hey, the sword has to be like proportional, realistic, and stuff like that. It's like okay, cool. And I am glad that like Inquisition did bring that back. My idea, at least for Dragon Age 2, if they wanted to expand that combat system, was you start off with animations that look like very realistic, but as you level up and grow in power, that the animations start getting a lot more like frenetic and energetic and skillful, you know.
Yes.
As a sort of like contrast between how you were and before.
Yeah, so it's sort of like your character has matured and mastered the skill. So yeah, I can see what you're saying. Sort of like the character growth.
Yeah. So like like character growth, because I like it in games when we have like a sense of progression.
Yeah.
You know, with gameplay or story, it feels like where we started out is different from where we are. You know.
Yeah.
And I absolutely love that in games.
And I think although Inquisition doesn't do that perfectly, it does kind of do that with the Inquisitor, because they start off as being, I'm not this great person, you know, I can't do all these things, and then by the end of the game they're just like, fuck yeah, let's go, and they prove themselves to be capable.
Yeah, especially in Trespasser, when you can really feel like the confidence of the Inquisitor just like exhuming everything, you know. And the way they talk about like the state of the world, it feels like they've really grown into their role. Yeah,
exactly. And I think that's something BioWare does really well, and I hope they continue that with the Veilguard. I keep wanting to call it Dreadwolf, but it's DTV.
You know what I'm saying, right? I constantly have to keep catching myself like, oh yeah, I'm excited for I mean Veilguard.
It's because Dreadwolf was such a good, catchy title. God damn it, BioWare.
Yeah, dude. And also, we've been calling it, Dreadwolf for like the past few years, you know.
Yeah.
And now we have to switch the name. It's just like what?
I don't do well with change. Like, my family knows this very well. If you change something in the house, it'll take me months, perhaps even years, to remember that you've changed something. Like when my mum was still alive, she used to change the drawer. She used to keep the cutlery, and so every time she would change where the knives and forks were, it would take me months to remember that she's changed the goddamn drawer, and I'd just be like opening the drawer, oh no, not in there, and have to go back and think, hang on, where did she put it to this time? And so it's kind of like that with Dragon Age Inquisition. Blah.
Inquisition.
Yeah, see what I mean? See what I mean? Change.
Yeah.
It throws me. It just throws me.
Things should be in a constant state of the same, you know.
Exactly.
Change, right?
How dare things change?
Yeah, how dare things? Okay, I don't care about erosion. Okay, erosion should go away, you know.
Yeah, damn straight.
The continent shouldn't have changed to anything other than like Pangea. Okay, that was like okay, that was fine, alright.
But yeah, no, we're good.
Yeah.
We're good.
No, yeah. I think though I'm gonna have to head off soon.
Yeah, no worries.
But you know, this is we've been doing this for like an hour. My gosh, time flies when you're having fun, I guess.
Doesn't it just? I will definitely do the video recording of my theories. One of which is I've already mentioned Solus being potentially the maker, but not actually the maker. And the one I sent you over Discord, but I'm not going to talk about it on stream because I want to gather all my evidence first before I make that an official like theory.
That's cool. I when I saw the theory, I was like, oh, I imagine you want to talk about the theory on stream, you know. But then I was like, oh wait, no, you don't actually want to. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's because I want to gather the evidence. Like I was doing that last night when I was like, oh, I'll go to bed early so I can be up early so that you know I'm awake for you. And I was just like, oh, but I need to gather all this evidence, and I was just like grabbing pictures and searching like.
Sorry, you're cutting up a bit.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, it's probably because I'm speaking really fast. So last night, rather than going to bed early, so I'd be up early for you, I went on a deep dive of finding all the stuff I wanted.
Hello? I'm sorry, maybe it's on my side that I'm having some issues.
Okay, is it working now?
Yeah, it sounds like it's working now.
Okay, it's probably Discord being Discord. Sometimes it likes to be itself. So instead of going to bed early last night like I was planning to, so that I would be up early for you and the stream, I kind of went on a deep dive into looking for lore and stuff to prove my theory that I've got. Needless to say, trying to find one of the information that I knew existed but could not find at all last night until like 1 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, basically I didn't go to bed early because I ended up just looking for all this information. I managed to find most of it relatively easy, but there was this one bit which I think is into Winter Nights. I haven't read it, but I'd read like I think I read the synopsis of it, or someone else covered it. I think Gillian Derethshell, I can't remember her YouTube name, but someone who...
Yeah, I can't pronounce her name though. It's such a long, unpronounceable name.
Yeah, you probably know who I'm on about anyway. If not, I'll link her to you later. But she goes over a lot, and I'm sure she covered it, but I could not find her video on it last night either. And I just spent all my time looking for this one I love my dyslexia. Specific little information to back up my theory a little bit more. It involves centipedes and weird shit, basically. Which kind of fits in with one of the monsters we see at the end of the gameplay. That, you know, the Venaris. Because that looks a lot like a centipede to me. So I was just deep diving instead of going to bed like, you know, a reasonable, responsible adult. So yeah, I might be a little bit too much of a nerd.
Hey, I mean, you know, at least you're passionate, okay? Not a lot of people are that passionate, you know, and that's good.
Yeah, I'm definitely passionate, if not obsessed.
Hey, I mean, what's the difference, right? You know.
Yeah, they're the same picture, right? It's that meme. They're the same picture.
I mean, like, yeah, same picture, right? I mean, what really is the difference between passion and obsession? Okay, I'd say not much, all right? It's a definition without distinction.
Exactly.
Yeah. And Yeah, well, I mean, I look forward to watching those videos. I did enjoy when you did the Dragon Age theorizing a bit more in your earlier videos.
Yeah, I definitely need to go back to those. I think my problem was most of the theories have already been done, and it just feels like I'm just copying other people, and I even though I have the same theories, it just feels like I'm taking away. Well, not so much taken away because I don't really have the fan base for that, but it just feels like I'm copying someone else, and it doesn't feel like it's original, even though I came to the same conclusions as well. Um, but I definitely have my own theories
Yeah,
that I
it's
want to
like
get out.
it's retreading old ground.
Yeah.
Like you haven't like done it yourself, and like you've come to conclusions yourself, but it does feel like, hey, I mean, people already have covered this, you know.
Yeah, and obviously since I started my YouTube channel, well, a lot later. Obviously I've been on YouTube for a long time, but I have never been a creator on YouTube, so it just feels like I've come in too late to do this. But at the same time, I still want to because Dragon Age is my passion, and I just love it.
I feel the same. I've also been on like YouTube for quite a while, you know, and I've only really tried like doing some stuff now to just talk about, you know, the things I really like. You know, and it's cool just like seeing people chat and talk to me about
Yeah.
like also just being excited. I remember when I did my own video on, you know, Veilguard, and there were a lot of like negativity, but also there was a lot of like cool people who were like, hey, I'm also excited for like you know, Veilguard. It looks great. I'm excited for it. You know, can't wait for it. I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, that's
Yeah,
really nice to see.
I'm glad I haven't.
It's a like.
Sorry, go on.
No. So you can continue.
I'm kind of glad that I haven't seen like any of the negativity on my comments. Not that people can't have their own opinions, but it's nice to see more positivity than negativity. Because I get a lot of that from my friend, because she's very skeptical because she was hurt by Mass Effect Andromeda. I didn't see too much of a problem with the game, but I could see why she doesn't like it. But she's always been more for the Mass Effect side, whereas I've always been more Dragon Age side. So she's kind of worried that I keep wanting to say Dreadwolf. The Veilguard will be to me what Andromeda was for her. So I can understand where the sort of like hesitation is for some people, but a lot of people I've noticed are just jumping on the hate train just because it's like the popular thing to do at the moment. Like a lot of people are making gripes, and it very much comes across that they haven't played any of the games, or they've only played one or like two of the games and not all of them. So I probably wouldn't pay much attention to those type of people because they probably don't even know what they're fucking talking about anyway.
Yeah, I feel the same. I think a lot of the negativity that I get from my videos is because I'm, if you do watch my videos, I do swear a lot in them, and I do like, I'm very confrontational about that. Because when I did a video where I responded to some guy, and he was making such weird points about Dragon Age, and I kept like being baffled, like, why though? Why are you doing this? What is this about? You know, it feels like, and this is like my own like personal, I guess, theory is that I feel like BioWare has a huge like anti-fan base.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like a lot of it is due to the fact that a lot of people either fooled themselves or didn't understand what Dragon Age was about. Like they keep constantly thinking that like, yeah, BioWare wants to do something like Fallout. You know, they want to have this like very big world with very undefined characters, you know, where it was really about the player, you know, and that's like not untrue. Like Dragon Age is about the player, but it's also about like the world, the story, companions, and having the player have some some anchor into the world, you know.
Yeah.
Like in Origins, you play as, you know, a predefined background. You know, same with all the other Dragon Age games. And I feel like people like misunderstand BioWare in that way.
Yeah, they assume that BioWare stories are just sort of like very, very sort of like, yeah, as you said, sort of like Fallout or Bethesda. They're two very different style RPG games. Yeah, okay, so like maybe not Fallout itself, but say like Skyrim. They're
Yeah, because
both
the fantasy. Yeah,
yeah, they're both RPGs in their own way. But I found BioWare, in comparison, is more story driven, more character driven. Obviously, Bethesda does have some of those elements, but they're more about the gameplay rather than the story. They have a story, but they're not so in depth and so intricate to the story. Obviously, and the characters and whatnot. They have lore and everything, but I just found their games are a little bit too lackluster when it comes to story and characters and plot. They're there, but they're not story driven. If you know what I mean, it's kind of like
yeah. No, I hear what you mean. A lot of like Bethesda games feel like you want to take them as they not as they come. You want to take them not as like a how do I say? It's you want to absorb the storytelling. You're not being like told anything. You're not asking questions. You're more absorbing it.
yeah,
You know? You're reading a book that talks about this one character, and then you find another book that also talks about that character, but they give conflicting opinions on it. But you don't really get to ask a character like in dialogue about that person,
yeah.
right? You only get to hear it throughout like indirect affirmations, I guess.
Yeah, it's kind of like Bethesda is more about the game rather than it being a story. Whereas BioWare is more about it being a story than a game. Which is why I don't like the whole potions in pot things, because that it doesn't feel like a story element, it just feels like a gameplay element.
Yeah, I do agree with you. I remember when I first saw it, I was like, okay, we're having like healing pots or like healing potions in those pots, you know, and like it's fine for like gameplay stuff, but like I've always liked Dragon Age because it's somewhat integrated its like mechanics, it's a gameplay into its like world, you know, and like even in like Inquisition where you had like limited potion slots, you still like when you got new potions, you went to a potion box,
and a box.
Just took it.
It was like a little supply drop that like your scouts or someone has left. It made sense for the world, and it made it more of a story element rather than a gameplay mechanic. And I find that's sort of like one of the main differences between the two companies. Comparing the two companies is probably not a good thing to do for fans of both companies, because they're just two very different, like, I'm going to say art styles in a way, but game styles. They're both good at what they do, and I love Skyrim, I love Fallout, but I don't love them for the same reason.
Like they have like different intentions to them, you know. Like you like them for different reasons.
Exactly. And maybe it's because a lot of the hate is coming from Bethesda fans, and they just don't quite understand the differences. You can like both styles of games. Like there's nothing wrong with preferring Bethesda if that's what you want to prefer. But you can't then compare another studio to Bethesda, because they're not trying to be Bethesda, you know.
I also think a lot of the people who dislike BioWare are also like Obsidian fans, or like old Obsidian fans.
Yeah, maybe.
As well, because I've sold in like really old Fallout fans, like Fallout 1 and 2. Because I remember back in the day that a lot of Obsidian fans just really hate BioWare, you know. And it's just like this weird, like, okay, dudes, I guess you don't like them, you know.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. It's just weird.
Like, you don't have to like everything. Like, there's no problem with people who don't like everything. But it feels a bit weird to waste so much energy on something you don't like.
Yeah, I get it as well. I remember I'm like an Assassin's Creed fan. I like Assassin's Creed, but I haven't played an Assassin's Creed game in a long time. Because I eventually like thought like, hey, this series isn't really for me anymore. It's not really being made for like people like me who like the older games.
Yeah.
Even with the newer game coming out, which is more similar to the old games, I still don't really think it's like that good or that similar to the older games. I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm not gonna keep playing these games. I'm not gonna like get upset at every time I'm playing them. Like, oh, why isn't this like this? Why isn't it like that? I'm not gonna do that to myself. I'd rather play a game I like and talk about a game I like than I dislike.
Yeah. Like hating on something for like a little bit can be a little bit fun, but then it gets to the point where you're spending most of your time hating on something, and then you've wasted all that time where you could be potentially enjoying something else instead. And I'd rather spend my time enjoying things rather than wasting time on something I don't like.
Yeah, it's just a lot better. Especially it's better for like your mental health, right?
Yeah.
Because like I can't imagine how these people are like going when they constantly like keep disliking stuff. And yeah, but I think that's enough for me today.
No worries.
But no, thank you for doing this. I remember I asked you like, hey, could we like just chat, because and then you wanted to do this kind of thing, and I'm like okay, I mean, I definitely like this, I definitely like just like chatting while seeing like people in chat as well or stuff like that.
Yeah, no, it's good. I definitely probably will do this more, especially with the lead up if we get any more information from Dragon Age, or any other games that I want to discuss. Mostly Dragon Age though, because let's be for real, that's kind of what started me off on this channel properly, and what led everyone to me. So I definitely wouldn't mind bringing more people in for a chat. Obviously, time allows and everything. But it's really fun to like connect with people who share the same obsession or likes, I should say, than me. And it's great to sort of like chat about different things and theorize. And it just makes me feel like, although we have our hesitations about what this new game might be, we're still all really just happy that we're getting it.
Yo, dude, I'm very happy that like Veilguard just exists and we can see stuff about it, because we've been talking about like this hypothetical game for so long. It's now like, oh, it's an actual game that's coming out, It's like,
yeah,
whoa.
It's like fucking finally, like,
yo, dude,
took your sweet ass time, BioWare. I'm glad they did though.
No, I'm glad as well,
But anyway, I will. I'll let you let you head off, and I will start my planning for D&D because no, I still got time. I can eat first.
Well, I mean, no, yeah. Thanks for this, and to anyone who's watching, thanks for joining, I guess.
No, thank you. Did you want me to try and I don't know how I can actually send you this thing?
Chat. And the Discord thing. Exit the call then?
Yep.
Or,
thank you again for coming.
Yeah.
And I will see you hopefully next week. I'll probably do a live stream then. I don't know when, but I will.
No, I mean, that sounds solid, We'll sort out the details then a bit later then.
And I should be able to play Dragon Age because I fixed it. I fixed the problem.
Oh, cool. Well, I mean, I would like to hear what the problem was, but I really do have to
of course. I'll let you go. Thank you for coming on,
no, thank you for uncuffing the chains, okay, that bind me from this chair.
You're welcome. Be free.
Oh, thank you. Finally, I can step outside, I can touch grass.
Oh, no, you mustn't touch grass. That's forbidden for nerds. We're not allowed to touch grass, apparently.
Is it forbidden? Will I melt if I touch it?
I don't know. You might.
I might. Okay, so I better not. Okay, just in case,
Anyway, take care, Knight.
No, you too, Yuriko. Enjoy.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, so that was Knight on from the channel for a bit. Thank you for hopping on. It was great to see you. And yeah, so thank you for all the people that came in chat. Arfan, Tima, and anyone else. I hope you all enjoyed our little discussion of Dragon Age and just nerding out in general. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. I definitely want to do this again someday. But for now, I'll see you all in the next one.